Hi everybody, I'm Manix86 and this will be The Legend of Heroes Trails in the Sky first chapter speedrun tutorial for the any percent glitchless category. You will find, however, a lot of useful routing and information for other categories such as New Field Turbo, and also other platforms should have a lot of useful information, like on the ESP, for example. Along with this video is also a set of notes that you can get on speedrun.com that I've uploaded, which is directly related to how we're going to learn it, so you can follow the detailed guide. There's also a set of notes for experienced runners, which basically cuts out a lot of things you might learn once or twice and then not really look over again. And I've also included a set of save states in the game that you can use. Yeah, so let's get started. First I'll just go over some basic movement and menuing stuff. It shouldn't take too long. And if you hear the music cut out in the back end, that's just because I am switching screens briefly and the music cuts out. I do want to do a quick shout out to iGoodluck Captain, which is the original router of this game and who I've learned the game from. Tutorials based off of his run with a few optimizations as well. Alright, let's get started. Okay, so let's check out basic control movements. I'm going to be using a PS4 controller for this. You can play mouse and keyboard. You might have a different controller. Your preference is up to you. It's a PC game. I'm just going to load somewhere. As you can see here, there's a set of save state packages all in order of the speedrun. This is what you would get if you install the version that I've uploaded on Steam. Let's just go, let's go to Rule 1, I suppose. Yeah, let's go. Okay. Doesn't really matter. Okay. So, just basic controls. Obviously, you have your D-pad. You can use it for movement. I tend to use the analog, but the D-pad can be used for good things like avoiding encounters with an enemy by turning away quickly, much faster than analog can. But yeah, really it's majority preference at that point. You have I use my square button for a mini map. So the reason why we use the mini map is to spot certain enemies on the map. Let's try it here. So if I press square here, it's probably a little small, but you can see little red dots when you have the eagle eye where enemies are. I'll get close to one so you can see, like this one. So you can see that from afar. So sometimes we're looking for a certain enemy spawn, notably the bombs. We use that. Circle is my confirm, so talking to somebody or doing various actions. I use L2 and R2 to change my camera angle. We do use that quite a bit indirectly. My R1 is my cooking book. We'll use that once in a run. And my X is my menu. So menu is also your cancel button. So it is the button that you use the most, more than likely. So let's just go over menuing a little bit. Obviously, you got the save and load file. So the game on page 0 offers a bunch of autosaves as you play the game. So if you made a mistake, you can quickly go into your autosaves and load a session just before where you made your mistake during the run. I've also left the first 20 pages free here, so you could make a save state right here. Make a real save and kind of update it throughout the run if you want to make safety saves. We're not going to go through options, but in the guide I've added what I suggest. The tactics menu is where we'll set either S brakes. So which is the character's special moves, or battle position. So battle position is a little weird in here with the D-pad. Like if I hold up here, you can see how the cursor travels. If I hold down, it's the reverse, obviously. If I hold right, then it stops here. It doesn't loop over like it does up and down. So yeah, it's a little weird to navigate with your D-pad in here, but you could take character and move it over here, and take her and move it over here. You can, for example, use a mouse. So moving characters with a mouse is way faster. So if you feel comfortable including menuing with a mouse if you're on a controller, you can definitely get used to that. Okay. So items, self-explanatory. We'll mostly only be spending it into the healing section, or in some cases, it'll be in the all menu here. I'll be explaining the run. Orbments is where you equip quartz for various magics. One thing I want to point out in here is, if you're using controller, is, for example, you know, obviously going up to down will help, but if you press right, you can see jumps straight down, and left comes straight back. So pressing left or right in menuing will skip a chunk of inputs in some cases. So here, if I want to go to slot 6, I can press right and up, and I'm already at slot 6. But you can also like briefly hold down, and it'll like start scrolling faster if you want. So just play with what you're comfortable. Equipment, self-explanatory, so you can equip some gear that we'll collect during the game. Status shows some stats, but we won't be using it during the run, or it shouldn't be necessary. So cursor's memory in terms of which menu you're in. So for example, if I click tactics, leave tactics, the next time I go into the menu, I'm still under tactics. So if you're doing some menuing and you know you'll have 2 segments back to back or menuing that are in orbment, so you can do your orbment, leave out menu, and next time you come into orbment. So keep that in mind. Same thing if you're like, oh, I made a mistake, you loaded a save and you come back in your menu, well, you're going to be on the save menu. Just be mindful of where your cursor might be, but it's not like a huge deal. You can quickly adapt. Just a minor thing. And let's talk about tech smashings. Well, actually, let's just talk about tech smashing straight into the run. Let's just go to the main screen, and I'll sort of start the run and explain as I go. I do have a few slides down. Alright. So timer starts as soon as you hit normal here. So first, let's talk about tech smashing, especially if you're using the PC version. There's a few things. So as you can see, if I hit just my confirm here, I can also hold confirm, which simulates. It'll skip text once it gets to the end, but we're not going to use it that way. Holding cancel is where text is smashed. So if I just mash cancel, you can see the text box will go a little bit faster. But the real trick is simply holding it down like this. So this is built in by Falcom games, most Falcom games. So just holding your cancel button will mash. This will be your fastest way to get through text, so you'll be using this quite a bit. So there's situations where the text, there's like a small delay. Like here, if you see, I'm going to start holding X, and it'll take a few seconds before the text starts going fast again. Like that. About a half a second to a second. This is how the game's built. So you just have to get used to that. Most of the time when you talk to somebody, there's like a little delay before the first text box appears, so you can benefit from that moment to start holding your cancel to mash to avoid any loss of time. But there will be a few segments here and there where the text box will appear right away, so it's going to take a moment before it goes away. And when one of them comes up, I'll explain what you can do. But you can essentially do this really quickly. So you press X to or cancel to complete the text, and then circle to go to the next one. So if there's only like 2 or 3 text boxes really fast, you can just alternate really quickly. I like to play this game with claw in some spots. Ooh, I apologize for that. So here, it's just a text scene in the beginning, so you could literally just hold your mash for the beginning of this game. We're just gonna get to the portions of the game where you start doing inputs or whatnot, menuing and routing. So what I want to do is leave this door and just walk straight out. You can hold bottom right, that's like I do with my analog here. Let's talk about menu here. So on the map, obviously you can turn. I like to use the default cam for this screen, but use whatever you're comfortable with. My goal is using the camera change as least as possible, but there are times where it's better to use it. If you look at the mini-map at the top, often that's what you'll use for movement, especially later on when you start seeing enemies. So to cut corners, you'll basically look at your mini-map and basically try to cut your movement as much as possible where you can. So we're just going to go here to the town. You can start holding your text here, because you're going to be a text cutscene in a second. Not a long one, but... So you'll see here, did you notice how my characters merge together? So that's often your cue after a text box situation that you can start moving. So what happens if you hold cancel? As you can see, it goes in and out of menu constantly. So you want to avoid that if you mashing your text basically. So yeah, just learn when you see them merge like that, it means like the text situation is done, you're going to gain control of your character. So that's often your cue that you can let go if you're not too familiar with the game yet. So first thing you do, you just go up here into the guild, mash, and Aina will tell you to go upstairs. Aina or Aina, I'm not sure. And this is Shara, and just we're going to see what we do for menu selections here. So menu selections, you'll notice, you know, while the text scrolls when you hold cancel, it doesn't make any choices on the menu. So here I have a selection screen. You can see I'm still holding my cancel, but I can still navigate freely here to make a selection. So you still have to use the confirm button to select something. So for this menu, it doesn't really matter which one you take, but as a rule we'll take option 1 because 1, you're already ready to text mash it, but sometimes it's often the shortest text amount. Like this, and then I'll take the last one that says that's all. You'll notice I went straight down, so what I did was pressed up. So sometimes pressing up will scroll here. So you talk to Aina and you hold text. You see there it took a second before she started talking. Make sure you're holding as soon as you press confirm on her. So here we'll see the first instance of what I was talking about. So that box at the bottom came right away. So I can do cancel confirm twice quick like that. If I don't have time to hold, and while it's switching to another text, then I can hold it. Here, select the last option twice, so sub it first and then leave. Okay, so you're going to do your first menuing here. So what you're going to do is talk to, now you remember his name now. Freddy, there we go, thank you. So you go to quartz, you'll press down and buy, synthesize or buy, I'll just say buy, an HP 1 and an action 1. Now to get to action 1 from here, you could press right, which is theoretically the fastest, because we confirmed earlier that right will jump down a chunk. If you're not comfortable doing that, you can press up twice from HP 1, that's another way you can go. Or if you're a down input kind of person, you can just press down 3 times. You know, it's not a big deal in such a small menu, but just understand that you can use different directions here. So I'm going to purchase an action 1 here. We'll immediately go into menu, go into orbment, and we'll equip action 1 on Joshua, and we'll equip HP 1 on Estelle. And as soon as we do that, you talk to Shara. You see it took a second for the text to go. This time she wants us to open a slot, so we'll open slot 2 for Estelle. And talk to her right away, do the quick alternate mash here, because there's only 2 text boxes, and then you hold for the rest. So you'll get used to the whole text mashing. You know, it's not all that difficult, but just the more you play the game, the more you'll know, like, what's the best. But generally, the alternation is just very short bursts for short text periods, where holding might take you longer. For the most part, you'll only use hold. I mean, you can use hold the entire way to get started. There's no problem with that. Alright, so this is like the tutorial fights, the Rolent sewers. So it's basically just tutorial fights. There's nothing too much about it going on. So first you're just gonna walk here, and there's gonna be text here. This is where I use 2 alternate cancels, and then I hold. Okay, and this is one of the few instances of when you get into the battle, you hold A, because you're gonna mash text and confirm. So confirm is how you're gonna attack this first enemy. So you're just gonna hold A. With Joshua, you're gonna press A to attack, press up to move up, and you can hold confirm the entire way. So the goal here is just teaching you how to auto attack. Auto attacks in the game can miss, however, I don't think for this particular fight you can miss. It's never happened to me. And you want to hold cancel at the end to get out of menus as soon as possible. Alright. So the second one, you're just going to hold cancel to get rid of this hint. And this one you want to just Aqua Bleed and Soul Blur. So let's talk about the menuing here before we go further. So obviously attacking is self-explanatory. Your character will walk towards an enemy. There's move. Move will move without doing an action, but move can... Oops. Let's pretend I didn't do that. So normally you don't want to move there, but it's okay. It's just like a tutorial battle. But if you move in the same spot without moving your cursor, it's like a skip turn. So we'll do arts here. Arts are generally the way to go in this game because you basically do magic and magic doesn't miss. One thing that might happen to you is this. So you might notice that the cursor left on the right. It's not a glitch. It's just the cursor goes somewhere if you hit left or right. Just press up or down and the cursor will come back. I think it interacts with your mouse, but yeah, don't worry about it if it happens. Yeah. So in this fight you want to do Soul Blur and Aqua Bleed as quick as you can. Obviously, in this demonstration it wasn't very fast, but just practice going to Aqua Bleed as soon as possible. Another reason why, here we'll show you a skip here, so if I just hit move, it skips Joshua's turn. Okay. There we go. So fight 3, fight 3 would teach us crafts using craft points. So you want to cancel to skip the hint. You're going to do equably with the closest one with Estelle. One thing about craft and art is... Alright, let's hit attack once here. You'll see there's like a zoom before my character comes. I have to wait for that zoom before I can confirm again. With art, that's not the case. I can press it much faster, and same with crafts. So you're going to do craft, dual craft, and then it's already selected the nearest one. So unfortunately we missed here. I might reload the fight just to show you what it's supposed to be, but there's a small chance that craft can miss. I'm sort of glad that it showed it in the tutorial, because and we can run. Usually it's a reset for me anyway, because you need combat points and it's very, very tightly routed in the beginning of the game. So as you can see, I conveniently had some save states made for you that goes back into the sewer fight that you can use. But you could also use your autosave there. We'll just go in fast pace here in fight 1 and 2 just to show you a little bit what it looks like. So with Estelle, just hold A. Joshua will move. And then you just hold confirm. If I say A, I'm thinking about Super Nintendo games because I'm a retro player. But my A is basically my right side button, my confirm. I'll get used to saying confirm eventually. There we go, and then you hold cancel to get the word screen to go away fast. This one was the art, so you hold cancel just to get rid of the text really fast. As you can see, I can select art and basically confirm on the enemy much faster than the auto attacks can. So let's hope this time that the rats in the fight 3 doesn't miss for the dual attack. So dual attack is also considered a drill strike. Part of me is also considered a auto attack, so it has a chance to miss. There we go. Now you want him to hit Joshua. He missed. Missing in this screen is unfortunate because we're tightly routing combat points, or craft points, pardon me, but that's okay. So fight 4, we're going to be taught the S-crafts. So first thing with Estelle is you'll target the back one. So let's talk a little bit about targeting. Depending on which direction you press, and also depending on where the enemy is, your original target should be the one that's closest to your character having a turn. But for example here, if I press down, it goes to the back rat, which is what I do, but if you press up, it goes to the right one. So based on the angle that you're looking at, it doesn't seem like super intuitive, but it's basically cycling counterclockwise and clockwise, up or down. Like up does counterclockwise, down does clockwise, right also does clockwise, and left does counterclockwise. So that's how it works if you're just using your D-pad. You can also use your analog here. I prefer using D-pads for fights. Anyway, so with this Estelle, basically what I do is arts, aqua bleed, press down. So I like down here because I press down, 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 everything's down, so it's easy to remember. Hold attack here to cue your auto attack. Okay. So here we're going to talk about Joshua's S-craft, so you have to skip these few text boxes. So you'll see on my input viewer I have the keyboard's inputs for from 1 to 4. That's because you use that to do quick S-crafts. I want to talk about this one in particular because Joshua's is very specific. there's a known glitch in the game with Sever, this first one, where if you cancel the animation, which is done as soon as you cast by hitting the cancel button, if you cancel it too quick, the damage will not be applied to an enemy, but you'll still lose your S-Craft and all your craft points, which are listed at the bottom of the character where it says CP. So what I like to do with Joshua is when I cast it, if you wait a moment, he'll say, "Let's do this," or he'll say like something. Usually it's "Let's do this." That's when I hit cancel. That's my cue to make sure it doesn't stun. This is only Joshua in the game, and it's only his first S-Craft, which you'll use for about 3 chapters. So let's go to it here. So you press 2, and the order is based on your character party at the bottom. So, for example, here, Estelle is 1, Joshua is 2. If we had 2 more characters, it would be 3 and 4, so on. So you want to target this one here. So as soon as I hit "Let's do this," I'm going to confirm as soon as I hear "Let's do this," I'll hit my cancel. As long as he's talking, the damage should go through. There's RNG here. You want them to hit Joshua. Unfortunately, that's terrible RNG because they missed on the previous fight and missed on this one. So you guys are seeing just about all the worst things that can happen in the sewers. So because Joshua needs to have 100 combat points later, he'll basically fall behind. So I'll have to either farm an extra fight or try to hope that I get a favorable pattern in the last fight. But anyway, basically in the first 4 fights that we did, you ideally want Joshua to take all 3 hits. Or Estelle takes 1 and he takes 2 is also fine. But yeah, basically just play over the sewers over and over and you'll find out, eventually you'll get used to that. So let's talk about the next screen that I've set up. So the last fight of the sewers, we're going to introduce our first menu. So the first thing you do, you go to tactics and you do a battle position change. As per my image, you'll move Estelle down here and you'll move Joshua up here. This is good for 2 things. So one, it puts Joshua in a vulnerable position against enemies, so they're more likely, I say more likely because they can still decide otherwise, but they're more likely to attack Joshua, which is what we want. And it also sets up future stuff. And then what you want to do is go to Orbment, select Estelle, Tier, and heal Joshua. Now I can't right now because he unfortunately didn't get hit. But normally you want to heal Joshua here with your Tier art. And that's it. And then you'll move here, go into the last fight. So let's watch the turn order here. You'll see how there's the first turn here is a turn bonus, the bonus sepith. If the first turn wasn't a bonus sepith, this text box wouldn't appear until there is one. But yeah, just look quickly and hold cancel to get out of that, basically, if you notice it happening. So here you want to actively and soul blur these enemies here. So what I like to do with Estelle's hit down twice, and with Joshua I'll hit up twice. Go. So the enemies can hit you here. This is wanted. Now you want these guys to preferably hit Joshua, but that one always feels like going after Estelle. That's a often thing. So the next strat is you want to basically auto attack to the same rat with each character, but in this case, because Joshua got some misses, I'm going to do a workaround. So I'm each going to attack one so that they live an extra turn, and hopefully they'll attack Joshua to basically increase his CP that I missed. That's perfect. Perfect. So I got exactly what I wanted. So they sort of fixed what I had trouble with, so now I'm gonna kill them. That could have backfired, you know, they could have went after Estelle, but all is well. For the last one, you want to use Soul Blur twice. So Estelle is already at 120. She usually gets between 110 and 120 getting out of here. She wants 120 even after the next fight, so that's great. So what we'll do is, you'll always want to skip Estelle's last turn with the move command, and do Soul Blur twice on the last enemy to give Joshua more CP. Oops. You see how I held text too long? That's a perfect example of what can happen. So grab this chest and just leave the sewers. Yeah. So yeah, practice the sewers. I mean, there's a lot of changes. It's actually one of the... Early on, it's actually one of the fights that has the most variance. Alright. So let's go to the next step, which is like the Esmelas Tower. So we'll just hold cancel here to get through all of the text. And we're going to report to Aina here. This might not be listed on the screen that you're looking at for the tutorial, but if you follow the notes of the tutorial that I've created, all these steps are closely noted. So you leave the guild and there's this little cutscene, so you can hold a little bit more text. Now I always try to find a visual cue as to when the text will stop. In this case, I look for the icons above Estelle's head. So after I see the heart, I'll know it'd be like almost time to get character control. There's the heart, and then the boot, and there we go. Right, so we'll go into this shop, talk to this guy, he'll give us our recipe book and a bunch of stuff. That's Renon. Leave right away. Go down, you'll get a text cutscene. A short one. We're gonna head to Esmelas Towers, or the Malga Trail first. So I like the camera angle that's already here. I'm just gonna go by the picnic tables here. And on to Malga Trail. So here you just wanna basically not cut corners where you can. And here's our first backup. I'm not gonna pick it up because I don't want them in the run myself, but you can pick up a reviving bulb here, so if a character dies, you can get this chest. Dying in this game, you lose all your craft points, which is devastating for the run. So generally, if I die when I'm not permitted to, I would typically reset. It also offset the experience, of course. So yeah. You just go straight up here. And we'll take a left here at the fort. With the enemy. Let's talk about this first feline here. So as you can see, this enemy, this is like one of the first enemies that, you know, can get you into a pincer. So ideally you want to go by here like this, but sometimes the enemy will have aggro like that and basically encounter you. So the way encounters work is you want to get preemptives if you're going to get encounters, even if it's an unintentional one, so you can run away faster, guarantee your first turn. So it's based on how you engage the enemy. So the enemy's back is turned to me, so if I go like this, I get a preemptive, so I could run away. So all battles should be run away unless otherwise specified in the guide. Avoided and ran away. But if an enemy's aggro is on you, we talked about earlier how you can turn around. So if you turn around quickly, you can avoid a pincer like this. If they touch any party character on you, it will engage the fight. And if it's a pincer, it's based on your first character in front, which is Estelle. So if Estelle's looking away from the enemy when he touches the party, there'll be a pincer. Anyway, so you run by him, and here's just a little bit of text. As you can see here, I'm holding quite early, but you wouldn't have to. Like, you can start when they go up the stairs here, and it's fine. As long as it's like the half second. So this next fight, the Flying Felines fight, is actually a pretty scary fight if you haven't done it a lot. Okay, so we'll just basically what you do, you go up here. You'll cancel as soon as you see the exclamation part. There's going to be a choice here. So this choice is important because the first one gives you 4 enemies, which we don't want. So you want to go to the second choice, which gives you only 3. Make sure you select option 2. Basically, they'll kill 2 instead of 1 in this animation. Okay. So at this fight, usually it's Joshua's first turn. Let me bring up my full slide for this fight. There we go. So as a rule for this fight, what you want to do is always auto attack with Joshua, so he stays in the front and also takes damage. The goal of this fight is for Estelle to have 120 craft points by the end of it, which she already has it, so she's not a problem. Joshua, however, needs to get to 100, so whether he gets hit or hits is going to increase that. So that's why we want him in the front for this fight. So you'll always auto attack with Joshua, and with Estelle you'll aqua bleed to do a lot of damage. But occasionally you might have to heal Joshua depending on the situation. These enemies can do a skill called Binding Power, or something to that. I always forget the name. Something binding. Basically they charge up and they do a large attack on the next turn, so you gotta watch out for Joshua. He can't die in this fight. So just hold your confirm and you do an auto attack. With Estelle, I recommend targeting the closest one, which is usually this one. Just don't target the one that Joshua has hit. That's because you want these guys to live the first turn just so that they attack Joshua. The reason why you target the first one with Estelle is Aqua Bleed is very slow to travel. So you want to make sure that you hit somebody that's closest. There you go, there's the binding. Okay, they're both focusing power. Okay, so now I have to be careful because these guys can do a lot of damage. Kind of happy this is a crit because she'll one-shot it. So you kind of have to watch the turn order on what happens here. So what I'm going to do is attack this one here so I get hit intentionally by that because I want a lot. The more damage you take, the more combat points you get. Now here you could take... Okay, she can't reach. You can see the auto can't reach. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to... You can quickly see the turn order over there. Theoretically, this one will go first next, but I could also target that one. I'm just going to target this one. They're about the same distance, so it's no big deal. So Joshua just got his 100 CP out of that. So that skill is extremely useful to build the combat, but you gotta watch the health. Like here he's almost dead. And you're just gonna finish with the auto attack. Yeah. So as long as Estelle has 120 or more CP and Joshua has 100 or more CP, you can finish that fight however you need to. But yeah. Practice that fight. You can make a save like on the first floor before you go up to the fight, and there'll be several scenarios that you can practice, whether they did binds or not, whether they do whether some crits. You gotta watch the crits if an enemy's gonna crit you and do a lot of damage. If the enemy misses, because your CP will be less if they miss, so you might have to stall the fight a little bit longer or skip Estelle's turn so Joshua gets another. So here all you do is hold text. As soon as she's done talking, you go down. We're just going to go back to the Bright family home. There's just a bit of text here, and again they merge together. Time to run. Here I like to keep my camera angle the way it was before because I remember the terrain, but you're free to move it. Here I just hold upright and everything's sort of lined up. You go in this door here, you hold text right away. Basically you hold text right until the day 1 is over. So yeah, that's the tutorial day 1 in a nutshell. There's actually a lot more to it than it feels. Like chapter 1 has a lot of variances, so playing chapter 1 a lot, which you'll naturally do because it's the first chapter. But yeah, practicing the sewer fights several times to adapt, and the flying felines fight is a very good way to get used to the game in the beginning. There's one last choice here. We just want to do option 1. As you can see, I was just mashing confirm because I knew it was coming. That's one thing you can do while still holding the cancel for your text. Yeah, there's just a couple last cutscenes. This cutscene's the last 2 text boxes. And that's basically the tutorial day. It's over. It's like the half, maybe a third waypoint of the prologue, because the second day is a little bit longer. But for this video in particular, I'll stop it here. So I'll do this tutorial segmented because it's a really long run. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this type of tutorial. You know, if there's anything you would like that was missing, but I try to follow the guide so that we can stay, so you can actually follow the detailed notes as you learn. Okay, thanks for watching, and see you on the next video for the Prologue 0.2, Father's Love, New Beginning.